So we're beginning. I want to offer up a prayer. Lord God, be with all of us. Help us to be patient and help us to learn what you have for us. I thank you, Lord, for your guidance in this event, and I ask that everyone here would be blessed with more knowledge and to be able to serve you in a greater way. Amen. So we're talking about online small groups, and online small groups is very dear to my heart because I believe it's the heart of ministry in the church. And what I'm finding is that not only because of the situation that we find ourselves in, more people is looking for avenues to be able to connect together with other people in small groups, and they'd like to start small groups for their church. So we're going to talk about different platforms, and we're going to talk a little bit about what small groups are. Now, many of you know what small groups are. It's just that you may not know how to place them online. And we're going to go into a lot of depth with that. Each week, we will cover some new information about what to do in those groups. But the primary part of this is to show you how to use the technology and how to use free technology primarily. Everything that I'm going to be showing you is free, and many of them, because of the COVID-19, have extended their ability to reach more people. Most of you will be able, with the free version of WebEx, which I'm going to cover today, you'll be able to have 100 people on the call. Small groups, though, typically are 3 to 10 people. And with those small groups, most of them want to be facilitated with some kind of curriculum or study material. I'm going to provide you with some free outlets for free study material, video study material, and then you may have some more that you want to share with us. So if you know of a favorite that you have toward the end of this particular broadcast and the beginning of the next meeting that we have, the next session, you might want to share that link with the rest of us. And then we'll pull them all together and make them available to people at the end of the program. So let's start by, what is a typical small group going to look like? Well, a small group is going to be online, facilitated with WebEx or Zoom or any kind of web conferencing tool if you want to be seen by one another. But many people might do small groups and never need to be seen. They may just want an audio connection, and that's available also. So it depends on what you want to do, but most people are going to use a video connection to be able to get the most out of the online small group. The differences between online small groups and groups that you might have where you're meeting face-to-face is obvious. That's going to be, you're not going to be in the same location, but you're going to be using some kind of technology. So since we've covered what a small group is and what we want to use it for, I want to stress one more thing. The purpose of small groups, as I am going to be talking about it, is small groups are meant to be able to come together and learn more about the Bible, learn more about God, and in particular, to be able to come together and form a community together. And if you've had small groups in person, I know many of you have enjoyed those. Online is very much the same. Once the technology ceases to be an obstacle, meaning that most people learn how to use it well, the technology won't be seen near as much as the faces and the enjoyment of the community that's created. So once people log on and they have an opening conversation, they may begin with prayer, and then they'll begin to talk through the discussion. Now, mainly you want to have the video or the study material covered before everyone gets to the discussion part of the group online. So that's what my recommendation is that you would participate in the study or the video, watch the video before you come, and then do just discussion online. And then maybe have some time at the end for socializing. So that's pretty much what a small group meeting might look like. You log on, have conversation, open in prayer, talk through the discussion questions. Now, what many churches are doing currently is that they'll have the pastor's sermon, if you're able to watch that together, and then they create discussion questions that they email out to all the small groups. And then those discussion questions becomes the discussion in the online discussion environment, which is what we're going to have here. Now, to make sure that we have time to cover what WebEx is all about and how to get started on it, I want to transition into that part of the learning. So I'm going to come out of the PowerPoint a little bit and go into the web environment. So let me see if I can, okay. So I hope that you all see my screen. And currently there should be how to create a WebEx account. And if you'll help me, please continue to put your microphone on silent or on mute. And currently you're looking at how to create a WebEx account for yourself. Now I'm going to copy the link. This Word document will be sent to you, and you will be able to use this to create a free WebEx meeting account. When you first come to the site, it will look much like this. And then you just scroll down. This is the images of the things that you will see. You will be asked to enter your email address and then click on the try it free. So they're going to ask you for your first name, your last name, and to be able to start this meeting, as soon as you give your address, they're going to bring a screen up that tells you they're going to send you access to create the account and enroll. So you're going to give your first name, your last name, your email address, and then they're going to send you this statement: your new account is ready. And when they send that to you, it'll look like this email below. Hi, create a password for your account so that you can sign into the WebEx site and to the Cisco WebEx meetings, desktop app, and mobile app. And so they're giving you the description of what kind of password. They want at least 8 characters. They want letters, both uppercase and lowercase, and then also numbers. Please, people mute their microphones. Thank you. And then as soon as you have entered your password, then you'll go directly to this image here, which will be Cisco WebEx. It'll have a home button and meetings. This is where you would start and create a meeting, and you would click schedule, and it would schedule the meeting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to a screen and we're going to walk through. Shh. Can people mute your mics? I don't have access to do that while I'm sharing my screen. So if you would, please mute your account. The best way to do that is to take your mouse to the bottom of the screen and it will have a microphone there and you click on that and you're muted. So I'm going to go out for a minute from sharing my screen and starts. So I'm going to show you in just a minute what it's going to be like to create your account. Now, the first thing you need to do to be able to use WebEx is to create the account. And I have a information sheet that I'll send you later today, and it's going to show you in comparison which of these free versions you might want to use. And these free versions will give you a comparison of which ones are the best. I'm also going to give you some information on what the experts think the best account is. I can't tell you which one's best. We use WebEx, and I'm most familiar with that, and I've used Zoom a lot. Both of them work very well, and WebEx meetings work well, but I'm sorry, the Google Meet works well as also. I'll be showing and demonstrating that one later, but you can only have 10 people on that free version unless you're a school or a business. And if you have a business account, you can have up to 15 people on at a time. And it works great for small business or for small groups. The problem is with Google meetings is that everyone must have a Gmail account. But with WebEx, you don't have to have that account. Or you don't have to have any kind of particular email account. So I'm going to put in that link that I showed you. It is at webex.com. And as soon as I enter that, I'm going to click on it. And can you all see my screen? Not yet. Let me share this with you. Does everybody see the screen now? I hope so. I can only see your head shaking, so if you see it, that might be helpful.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. So once you get to this screen, it's going to give you this place to put your email in, and you just add your email address. And then you click try free. So as soon as you try free, it will take you to the next screen. And I showed you that it's only 4 screens, but as soon as you do the try it free, let's see what comes up. I already have an account. So then I don't need to sign up for a new account, but it is going to give you access to go through each of the different screens, and you'll be able then to sign up for your account. I think that my little sheet will give you everything you need to sign up. And once you have an account, then the bigger news is, okay, what do I do with it? And how do I sign in? And what would that look like? So I want to show you a screen here. See if I can share that screen with you. So this is my screen and what it looks like. will give you a chance to, you can see the meeting that I have available. If I go back to meetings, it will give me a list of meetings that I have, and it shows you this area. You see this button where it says schedule? That's where you can click to schedule a new meeting. And you would put in a new meeting name. It's going to provide you with a password. And then it wants you to put in the time of the meeting. We're going to create a 12 o'clock or 12:30 p.m. meeting. And let's put the date on the 30th, just to give you some ideas. It'll be an hour-long meeting. You click done. And then this area here is for adding email addresses to the people that you want to send out this meeting notification. There's two ways. You can put everyone's email address in there, or you can send it all to them, all of this information to them in an email. So I want to talk about some of the advanced options. So you can send them an email through using this area, or you can send them all of this information that's created in an email. Now, one of the things that's important is that the voice over IP may be the only option you have in your free version. But if you create a version where you purchase it, you will have audio through WebEx audio, and people can phone in and they can use it with other things besides voice over IP, which is the voice mechanism that's in operation with your computer. Some phones, data phones, also use voice over IP, and they would be able to talk and do the meeting as well. There's lots of options here about the agenda, options about how to host a meeting, and I'll allow you to explore those yourself. But once you click schedule the meeting, then this information comes up for you. See, it's a test meeting, and I can just copy the entire thing and send it to people in an email. So once I've copied that, I can put it into an email, and then it's a little easier for me to send that information out to everyone. So I wanted to cover this information, and then I'm going to go out of here, go back to not sharing. I'll mute everyone again. And I want to see if there is any questions. If you have questions, you can log those in the chat window. The chat window is one of your buttons that is listed, and it is listed there at the bottom of your screen when you mouse down. And then you have an option to email to everyone. And with everyone there, you can email me your questions. And I have an assistant today, Heather Schellabarger, and she will be helping me to see any of the questions that you have over anything that we've covered today. And
Phyllis?
yes.
This is Jill Scott. I can't find that where you're talking about.
Usually it's hidden until you take your mouse across your screen, and when you lower your mouse toward the bottom of your screen, you will see some buttons appear. One of them is the microphone. One of them is the video and search. Up at the top, there are items as well. And if you're looking for...
Oh, I found it. It says chat. Is that the one?
It does.
Okay,
Very
sorry. I apologize. I
fine.
missed the whole first part because I couldn't get my audio to work. So I just got in here where I could hear you. So I didn't hear
Okay.
anything you
So
said
we're going
previous to
to,
this.
okay, thank
Sorry.
you though so much. I would stay and chat because you are one of my favorite
No,
people.
it's okay.
But we have about 200 people online today. Not all of them are visible. And so if you want to put your questions in the chat feature, I will try to answer them. I will read over these, and anyone that we don't answer, we will answer all of those first thing next meeting, or I'll try to answer them in print when I send out the information. But I wanted you to know, somebody asked if WebEx is limited on time. Currently, there is no time limit on WebEx meetings, the free version. They do say when you join that your free version will not be given first priority. So if the phone lines, or should I say the internet lines, are all congested, you may have intermittent um, times when you can't see or hear. So it's not as strong of a signal as it might be on the enterprise version that we're using. We use WebEx for our online classes, and we use them for our live presentation classes in our classrooms at United. And they work so well, they're seamless. We rarely have problems. And the problems that we do have are associated with the bandwidth of the person who's trying to come in. Not so much our bandwidth, because we've made provision for that. So there is no limited length in the free version at this time. And you have up to 100 people that you can have in on the events that you create when you schedule a meeting. So I am signed up for WebEx, and that's the reason I wasn't able to take you through. I could have used a different email address, but you will have all of that information in your document that I will send out. So let's see what other questions that they have. Is there a way for people to share YouTube videos, songs to the group? For us, the worship team, there is, and I don't have the answer on how to do that. It might take some time to explain, but I will try to get back that information to you before next week's meeting. Yes, everyone can be muted up on entry. I failed to do that in creating the meeting. And so I can mute people, but only when they come in. So I made a mistake in having that set up correctly. But you can have everyone muted when they come in. But I don't think you want them to be muted for the life of the meeting, especially in a small group, right? There's also a question on how many days you get. I believe that that is a 90-day, but I have that information in the comparisons of all the products that I'm going to be demonstrating. So you'll get that information so you can compare which one might be someone is asking, has WebEx been compromised by porn? It's my understanding the answer is no. I know that Zoom has had some problems with accessing and security, but I don't know what those problems all are involved in. I know many companies are not using Zoom for that reason, but WebEx has been traditionally a business-oriented system. They've been around a long time, and they've been doing WebEx for probably over 10 years, and they've upgraded their system a number of times. I will tell you that the information that I'm sending to you, it may be outdated on all of these systems within weeks. And I say that because they're all trying to update, upgrade. And so the information that they send out, you'll have to check their website, their official website, to get new information from time to time. But currently, the information I sent out, I recorded it on, documented it on the 23rd. And so all the information was current at that time. And I did check back, and it's still current on the information that I'll be sending out. Is there any other questions? I see some people are answering questions for everyone, and that's helpful. Thank you. So from the list of people that registered, most of you are ministers or affiliated with the church in some way. And so my depth of demonstration is going to be mostly designed to handle the technology information. I believe that there is some room, as I mentioned earlier, if you didn't come in on time, that I do have some links to some free study videos and curriculum, church curriculum, study curriculum, and I will provide those links later. I want to think about how we use our small groups for a minute and what kind of goal that you'll set for your small groups. The important thing about the goals in small groups is that you eventually want your small groups online, perhaps that might be your goal, to start coming to your church or to have a small group that's at your church. In time, you might want more and more engagement on a physical level. And so if your goal is to do that eventually, then you want to construct things in such a way that it continues to open up avenues to become acquainted with your church. And one of those I mentioned earlier is that you might want to use the study guides as discussion questions from your Sunday morning or maybe a Wednesday night broadcast of the pastor or other leadership teaching avenues, and then have just the discussion online. So if your goal is to get more people at your church, or the goal is to get more people acquainted with the church so that they become a part of your community, you're going to want to bring them in to ways to connect them with the people at the church and the pastor. So you might not want to use a curriculum that is designed by many different avenues. We use Real Media for some of our video studies. They have quite a lot out there, but they are not free. And there are many free avenues out there. Right Now Media is a paid service. It's kind of pricey, but they are probably the most well-known avenues. There are so many YouTube videos of people sharing information at this time about worry or anxiousness, and those might make good study material. You find the video, send the link to your small group, and anything you want to discuss in the avenue online. Someone asked, is WebEx available to other countries? WebEx is international. So they have locations all over the world. And so you should be able to get WebEx anywhere in the world and it be able to reach the internet in most locations. I'm sure there are locations that may block things like WebEx, but WebEx would be blocked less often than, say, Facebook or other kinds of media. So that might answer your question. Yes, I hear someone asking a question. Do you need to be cautious of copyright issues when posting things on YouTube? Yes, YouTube does require that copyright issues be abided by. I can't answer every question for that, but I do know that churches in general do not broadcast their worship time. In many cases, they don't because the songs that they're singing are copyrighted. There are open songs and open types of songs that your group may choose to offer, but in most cases, you need to abide by copyright. Anything that you would not put on a broadcast, you don't want to put it on your YouTube account. The file for Zoom will also be shared on how to sign up for that after next week if you have questions about that. Are there any other questions about WebEx and the material that I covered today? Heather, is there any questions? If you would come on and share any questions that I may have missed, I would appreciate it.
It looks like one of the questions that was asked was they've tried other free video conferencing before and get a lot of buffering, which can be disruptive. Does WebEx present a similar issue?
As far as the free version, I have tried it with a number of my friends, knowing that I was going to be teaching about this. And what I found is that people who have very low bandwidth has a lot of difficulty being seen. But the people that have good bandwidth are very easy to be seen. And you can just look at the bottom of your screen and you could scroll through some of the pictures on here. And while this is a paid account, there are a number of people on the screen. And these people are all stationary. You're not getting very much buffering at all. And this is during the day, which is a very highly productive time for most people who are using WebEx. And we're getting very little buffering, at least on my end. I'm not seeing it. If you're seeing me buffering, then you might find that to be true. But the host account is the one that needs to have the highest bandwidth, because that's the one that obviously would be holding the meeting. And if you have good bandwidth, everybody will not be frustrated. So that's the one thing that I would recommend, that you have, like if you have DSL, it may not work as good as Spectrum in your internet providing. So there are some other factors that need to be considered besides WebEx, Zoom, or the provider. But both of the providers have worked well for me. All three of them have worked well for me. The only times I have difficulty is when the person who is not got good bandwidth, they tend to come in and out and buffer, and you can't always hear what people are saying. Is there a lag time? Yes, there is a lag time, but it isn't very extensive. From my experience, it's been very low, and so it's not usually disruptive. If you see that my lips and my sound don't match up, you might notice some lag time.
One other question that I see is that, is it easy to screen share on WebEx?
I think it's easy to screen share, but I noticed that I did lose some of the ability. Like, for one thing, I could not mute everyone while I was in screen share. So that was, I think, a drawback on this particular one. So is there advantages to using one service over the other? Yes. And I can't answer which one is best for you, because some of the things that you're looking for may be better in one system over another. And what I would suggest, I'm going to be sending you 2 links to news articles on the web that analyze both systems. When I say both, they analyze a lot of different systems. So there'll also be other systems there that you might want to try. But from my experience, and we have been on video conferencing apps a lot in the last 10 years, they have only gotten better. During this particular time when there are a lot more people on, WebEx and Zoom has a lot of outlet points. And so if you're not receiving a good broadcast, they're automatically transferring you to where there's less activity. That happens in the background. It happens automatically. It's provided in the software. So the systems today that we have are the very best that we've ever had in the last few years, except for the fact that there's more people using the internet today to stream than ever before. So you might have a meeting that has no problems, and then the next day have just as many people and have a lot of problems. So a lot of it has to do with the internet, how many people maybe on your street is using it, can have factors. So let me see if I can read a couple of these other questions. On the recording of free versions, I've looked at so many, I won't be able to answer that. I'm afraid I would tell you wrong, but most of them have, some of them have the ability to record, but only a very limited amount of recording. So you might record today and then download it to something like YouTube, and then be able to use the recording space in the future. That's what I would do if I wanted to record in the free version. It's taking a long time for me to be able to, someone says, to type in the chat. They wanted to have Word and WebEx, and by the time they split the screen, I'm not buffering, but I am. Okay, so you may have, we have quite a few people on the call today. I can't answer the reason that some delay, or because the one factor that I can't help anyone with is how their bandwidth is working at this moment. There is a place where you can Google it and find out how to check your bandwidth. I will try to find that link and add that to the resources in one of the, it won't go out today or tomorrow, but in one of the resources, I'll provide you with that link so that you will be able to check your own download and upload speeds. And knowing that would give you a lot of understanding about how yours is going. Oh, there we go. Speedtest.net. Somebody's quick on the draw there for us.
And another question that was raised was, can we divide into discussion groups?
I know on the version that is the paid version, the answer is yes. I don't know if that's provided on the free version. I'll check my notes on that, and you'll probably see that when it comes out in the mail, in the email.
Hello?
So is there other questions? Please type them in the chat window if you have the ability to type them. If you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, if you do not have the ability to type, I will entertain that.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
I hear
great.
you.
Hi, my name is Errol Cooper. Calling in from North Brunswick, New Jersey. I wanted to know when you do send out the email invites, and let's say the person on the other end does not have WebEx, how do they get it? Do they just click on the link and it's downloaded on their computer, like automatically in one step? Or do they have to go separately to the website and download a version?
That's a good question. On WebEx, there's nothing that they need on the free version. There's nothing they need to do. They will need to click on, it's like an app or they will click on a link that says, it says download this. That's done so quickly that I really don't always notice how quick that happens, but it is a download, but nothing that you have to add. The link is sent and there's nothing more that the person needs to do. Now, the first time that I used Zoom with a free application, I was required to create an account with my email. I did not have to do that. No one had to do that with this WebEx meeting, I would presume. If anyone did, it was unusual because I've not had that experience at all. But the first time that you want to download Zoom, you will have to, all of your participants will have to add an email address, and that I think is a drawback. With the paid version of Zoom, I would doubt that you need to do that. I have not experienced that with the paid version. So someone's saying they had to sign in and it needed an email address also with WebEx. That might be new. So thank you for informing me. Yes, people are saying that they did have to give an email address also. Okay, good to know. Is there any other questions that I might cover today? We do have a lot of information to cover in the next two sessions that I haven't covered here today. And so I wanted to allow enough time for being able to show you how to set up a meeting and how to sign up for WebEx, to give you some background. Everyone here has a different level of experience, so we may be moving a little slow for some of you and too fast for others. So next Tuesday, we will meet again at 2 o'clock, and we will go over some material about online groups, and we will look at Zoom, how to sign up for it, how to use it, and some of the differences between Zoom and the one that you're using here. And then our last session will be about Google Meet. And so there's a variety here. In the meantime, if there's areas that you get free lessons, study material, especially video curriculum, biblical curriculum, or studies that you might want to recommend, if you'll bring those along with you next time, and I would love to share those with everyone. So we have about 200 people on the meeting today, and it says 114 right now. So I want to thank you all for coming. We're going to end just a little late. I'm going to stay on. So if anyone wants to ask questions, I would be glad to answer those. And thanks for saying hello, those of you who I know personally. It's great to see you again and hear from you again. So I'm going to open it up. If somebody wants to come on, I will entertain a question. Yes.
Apologize. Because of a job meeting, I got up in. Will you be sending out a link for the recording?
Yes. If you've registered for the event, which I assume you have, then the link will be sent out along with some of the information that I've covered today. So you'll be able to get some things in your hand that will help you to be able to reference the material and do it on your own.
Phyllis,
Yes.
what about Microsoft Teams?
Well, I thought that my learning curve on that was not strong enough to cover it, but I'm hearing really great things about it. In fact, they recently improved it. And if you have access to Microsoft Teams, I would use it for a small group. One of the things that I may have neglected to say is that use what you're comfortable with. That's the important thing. Use what you know and use what you're comfortable with, and don't limit. If you have 10 small groups at your church, don't limit them on what to use. Let them use what they're most comfortable with, because then they're going to be more likely to get it up and going and meet more often.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Matt. I joined the meeting late. The Eastern time messed with me. I apologize. This looks like it's all technical on various options in the technology for meeting. Did you share anything about resources and such as that?
Yes, I did. Toward the beginning of the meeting, we did talk about some resources and just how to lay out a small, the goals that you need to set for it if you're a church. And I will cover some of those in the start of the meeting next time because people have different time frames when they're coming in, but I won't overlap too much. But at the end of this meeting, we will put together the recording and a link to everything that I used, and also a page on just links for a variety of things, places to get Bible study videos, curriculum, where's the best, how's the best way to host that meeting and what to do when you're in the meeting. So we did cover some things like that. And then
Thanks.
ended mostly with the technology.
All right. Well, sorry I'm late, but thanks. I'll take a look at that recording. I appreciate it.
All right. Anyone else that's still on have a question? I think that small groups are the heart of our churches. And at this time, we all need to know how to carry on online. But even after the distancing has been solved and we're back to, if normal ever comes about again, I expect it will. Small groups online is a great way to get people familiar with others and then maybe check out the church. It is amazing that many people will join a small group online that will never join a small group in person. And many people will watch a service online, of course, and not come in person. But small groups has been a catalyst for Saddleback in getting people just to come. They'll join a small group, become active, and then become acquainted with the church. So there's lots of avenues that small groups fulfill.
In fact, I think Saddleback still require that you be in a small group to be a member.
Oh, really?
That's what a stewardess told me a couple months ago when we could still fly, and she was trying to get home to get to her small group that week.
Oh, you know, I noted there is different churches that require that. And I don't know what denomination you might be, but that's what, the Methodist Church was founded on. And they had accountability groups that require you had to attend or you couldn't attend the service. So it's interesting how we have transitioned.
I don't know. Try accountability with Gen X or Gen Y. It's tough.
So the recording will be emailed to everyone who registered for this event. And so if you did miss some of it, you can catch it up at that time. I want to thank you all for coming. And we will see you next week with some more great information and another piece of technology to look at. So I thank you all. And we'll log off for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Phyllis.